Hi Booktube, it's Stephanie, and today I'm going to share with you all the books I got in September. Is it a lot? Yes. I got way too many books in September. Like, at least I've read some of them, so there's that, but it's bad. So let's start with the 4 books that I got secondhand. First, I expanded my collection of Wheel of Time books, that's translated to Swedish. I got these 3, De 9 månadernas... Let's start that one over. De 9 månadernas dotter, Järnets tid, and En krona av svärd. I don't... in Sweden, the books was split, each Wheel of Time book was split into 2, so I have no idea which ones these are, but there were 3 that I didn't have, so now I have them. Let's put them in a lump. And then I got... This one I got because it was in a good condition, and it was, since they did have that sale, it was take 4 books, you get the cheapest one for free. This one was the free book, because I kind of couldn't find any more that I wanted. And I did enjoy what I had read, but I never continued on with this. This is Leviathan Wakes by James S. Curry, which is 2 authors. But yeah, I did enjoy it. It was just, I need to return it to library, and then I just haven't borrowed it again. But I do think that if I hadn't had to return to library, I would have at least continued and maybe finished it. But here it is. I now own it, so great. Okay, I'm thinking right now. So then yesterday I went to the store, and they had a, if you were a member of the store, which I was, you got 20% off if you bought over a certain amount of books, certain amount of cash. And yeah, I have been looking at this book, so I was like, yeah, sure. Yeah. So that book is Hotat rike by Victoria Aveyard. The English title, which is Realm Breaker. This is the same author who wrote Red Queen. I did own that book, but I decluttered it because I wasn't interested in it. But this one I was way more interested in. And in this one we are following the daughter of a pirate who really wants to go with her mother on journeys, but she isn't allowed, I think. And then a giant shows up and tells her that she is one of the last descendant of some kind of family, something, and she is needed to save the world. We'll see. I am intrigued by this, and actually this Swedish translated hardback was cheaper than the English paperback, so, or it was the same price, and I do kind of prefer hardbacks, but I don't really care as long as I get the book. Now, my goal when buying that book was like, yeah, I'm pleased with this. I'm just then going to get 2 or 3 pencils, like those slightly more fancy ones that you pay. Why am I paying that much for a pencil? But I would then get 20% off. And my eyes basically went zoom. And I bought a tarot deck. Yes, they had a tarot deck. I already have a tarot deck somewhere. I just never use it. So yeah. And I honestly thought that I was more interested in looking into rooms instead, because I want to do that instead. But I saw the art style of this, but it does have a book, which is the reason why I'm saying it in this book, because I will read this. But it was, I'm not going to pick up all of the cards, but it was the art style of the cards that did it for me. And just, oh sorry, bones, tendrils, muscles. If that bugs you, don't. Skull, yeah. It's just, if you're a dentist or dental hygienist or work in the dental field, this is a 6-year-old skull. But yeah, the art style, I just fell in love. These are the lovers, and it's a heart. So yeah, I just fell in love with the art style of this, so that was why I decided to get it. So my eyes basically went zoom. I didn't even look down. I just went and then just my head went, turn your head down. And this was the last one they had. So yeah, I have this one as well. Let's actually put it down here. Because it's not a book, but I can say that, oh yeah, good, you can't see the title at all, and now when it's not blinding you. But I do find that the title is like, what would you translate it? The Road to Self-Discovery. Shadow work is the road to self-discovery, not tarot. It can help you, but it's not, no, shadow work. And I hate shadow work. Which is, well, it actually depends on what I'm doing while I'm doing shadow work, but shadow work is not fun. Then I got 3 volumes of this. So this is The Alchemist Who Survived Now Dreams of a Quiet City Life, volume 4, 5, and 6. No, I don't think it's technically volumes when it comes to light novels. Doesn't really matter. I got 3 of them. I'm finished with 2. I'm actually intrigued of where this one will go, because, yeah. But yeah, this continues with Mariella's journey and her life. And, well, she tries to adapt and work with her friends and try to save them while being the only alchemist in the city. I'm really enjoying this series. I definitely, this is not, like, I love this and I really enjoy it, but this is not for everyone. I can tell you that some people find it way too corny, and things like that. There is one comment that I just went, excuse you? How easily insulted are you? Basically, one of the characters, who is the main characters, well, in that book she technically wasn't the main character because she didn't feel like it. He calls her Shaburella because her friends are missing and she comforted. And people are like, why did she have to do that? I'm like, excuse you, I'm obese. I don't take offense to a friend calling another friend for shub. Like, stop it. Stop it. That just felt so cringy. Like, get real. But I'm really enjoying this series, and this is the last one, at least the one that's out. I don't really feel like telling you more about it at the moment because I feel like I've just nagged about it. Then I got this one. This is an essay, and this is how Contagion Works: Science, Awareness and Community in Times of Global Crisis by Paolo Dano. This is a Italian physicist and author who wrote this essay in the beginning of the pandemic, in the beginning of Italy's lockdown, and apparently this changed like the direction. But yeah, I'm really intrigued by this one. I had heard about some kind of essay or read somewhere, but so this is the actual essay. And you think I'd be finished by now? The answer is no, I'm not. And I have not read any of these. One I had kind of planned, but I never got around to the second book, and that is Overlord 3, The Bloody Valkyr by Kugen Maruyama with illustration by Subin. Now this is a light novel in which, well, the first book, we're following... Actually, I don't think that's the main character. Let me just see if there's a picture of the main character. Actually, I can't find a picture of him. But basically, it's another one of those person from our world gets stuck in another one. In this case, he's logged on to the server as it's going to close. But when it closes, he notices that he's still in there and all the NPCs kind of have a life of their own. With what they have programmed, and not only that, they are also not in the actual location that they were supposed to be, so they have been transported the entire dungeon to another world. And yeah, I really enjoyed the first one. I got really emotional in the beginning, but yeah, this is the third one, and no, I've not read number 2. Let's continue on with the light novel track and go with Lone Life in Another World. That's written by Soji Guji and illustrated by Buta. And this follows a class who, well, mainly Haruka, or Haruka, I don't know how to pronounce it, who together with his class get transported to this world. And when they get there, they get to choose between different gifts. However, when he's the last one, you know how this goes, and he basically has a bunch of like junk to pick from. And yeah, so he has a hodgepodge of powers. Yes, I just picked that up from the back. And then there starts to be chaos in between his friends and his classmates. And they start to fight each other, and he might need to save them or help them. This is a large light novel. This is over 500 pages. Yeah, it's over 500 and at least over 540. So it's a lot of pages, but yeah. We'll see when I get to this. I have so many of these kinds. Let's be real. I did see one thing that I thought was interesting is that each chapter is named day, whatever it is. So we have, for instance, I'm just trying to find the chapter header. So we have day 11 there, and then there's day 2, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it just all the days, and I think 24 is the last day in this one. I have too much junk on my shelf, but I can't be bothered by fixing it. Then we have one that I just thought sounded pretty cool and kind of cheesy, but I have not heard anyone talk about it, and that is City of Iron and Dust by J.P. Oakes. And this takes place in a world where we have fae and things like that. And this story takes place when the goblins has basically completely and utterly defeated the fae, and they have this like prison city, and the fae doesn't have any powers, but there is this drug that can give fae their power, so we have people trying to find it. And basically we have this hodgepodge of different people, one of them being an artist, one being a fae who's a drug dealer, a goblin princess, did I already say that? I don't know. A bodyguard, rebel, and then an old goblin. And then they are collecting around one particular bag of dust, and things will change. So it seems to be a standalone, or at least the science fiction bookstore, they have numbers when they are like books in a series, and this does not have a number. So this could actually be a standalone. We'll see. It sounded interesting. And also a bit of a twist with the fact that the fae are like the bottom scrap because they don't have any magic anymore. So yeah. And then the last book, yeah, I know. This is Pendrick's Progress by Lewis McMaster Bujold. And this is 3 novellas in this one. So we have Pendrick's Demon, Pendrick and the Shaman, and Pendrick's Fox. And this is a collection. There is a second one as well that has more of the novellas collected into one. And I first heard this from Rachel from Contagion, but basically it's about Penric who gets to, let's see here. Yeah, so Penric is on his way home, basically, and he stops to help a woman who has had a riding accident, and as she lies dying, she passes on her power as a priestess, I think, or temple divine. Yeah, and she passed on her powers to him. Now he needs to become a sorcerer. She had high praise for him. Actually, she has high praise for this author in general, and I have really wanted to try Pendric's Demon in particular, but I couldn't find it unless it's an audiobook. And you know how I am with audiobooks, so a physical copy was a great thing to do. So those are all the way too many books that I've gotten this month. I've read 2. That's something, right? Have you read any of these? Is there any one of them that you're like, oh, please read that? I mean, personally, I'm like, I want to read book number 6. I want to read book number 2 of that. I want to read so many books. So there's that. But oh well, I'll see you next time. Bye. This is an awkward angle.